just like before I even get into the articles, I feel like it sparked all the conversations again where a lot of people have, we were talking about this a lot, actually. Everyone was, kind of both, all the parties I was at, everyone was sort of having this conversation where in America, they always talk about having a third party. But basically, if the third party could win, it matters. And if a third party can't win, that means nothing because they don't get seats. It's not a parliamentary system.
Yeah.
Like if you're the third best party in Canada or Britain or one of these places, and you're like, oh, we got 20% of the vote. You now have 20% of the seats and you have 20% of the influence.
And you can make a coalition.
In America, if you get 20% of the votes, it means zip zero.
Zip zero. I mean, I guess it's, if you're in Congress, your congressperson could be, but there is an independent party, and I believe
you're useless.
Ross Perot, was doing pretty well as an independent.
I know, but then what? Then what happens with it?
What happens is that
if you lose, then what happens?
There is this, kind of, I don't know if game theory is the right term, but kind of calculus here where you go, hey, this guy's not going to win. And these people obviously lean towards one side versus the other. Or at least their fans are. Like a guy like RFK, he might disagree that I lean one way, but he might say I lean left, and you'd be like, yeah, but your fans are right. Your fans are right. And then, if you run as an independent, they're just like, okay, well then the people we really don't want to win are going to win, or we just switch our allegiance to the main party.
But so it's like they almost do have two parties. And here's what I was arguing, which just seems obvious to me. So in America, like Bernie Sanders is kind of a third party. Like Trump mega was a third party in a way.
Yeah.
And then when you get big enough, if you're like, oh, we're actually looking like we might beat these guys, you're just like, okay, well then also I'll just take his party.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make you go.
I mean, the party.
If I was my own party and then I was running in kind of more right candidacy, and you're like, oh, by the way, I'm like ahead of the other right party. You go, oh, also I'll just take all their infrastructure.
Right. And I mean, there is the whole
and their money,
RNC, DNC thing, where at the end of the day, they're like, they just want the closest thing. They have tons of money and they just want the closest thing.
So it's like the third party thing already kind of happens. It just happens before.
Yeah. Theoretically, America could have a communist fucking president run as a Democrat, if that's just what the will of the voters were.
Right.
And the DNC would be like, yeah, we're not happy about this, but yeah, we'll take them versus not having them.
Yeah.
So
that's, in my opinion, it was kind of so anyways, their argument is don't bet on Elon, maybe he will. My argument is that these really smart tech guys, and I have some IQ points, really smart tech guys are very crappy at politics in a lot of ways, right?
Yeah, different game.
It's a different game.
It's more of an EQ game.
Took the words into my mouth, and it was kind of interesting. So, we've probably had some conversation about this, but back in the day, even 25, 30 years ago, right? Most of the people that were kind of becoming millionaires or started new businesses that changed the world were sort of more IQs probably in my and your range.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Most of the people were kind of 110 to 130, but business minded, kind of good at sales, good at people. The people who started kind of real estate businesses and, retail stores and all these sort of stuff, right? At some point in the last 15, 20 years, that switched to all of the people that are starting businesses that change the world are actually more 140, 150 IQ
up there.
And I actually looked at it, and it was the Elons, the Zuckerbergs, the crypto guys, the AI guys. You don't see a ton of people now that start, these huge businesses anymore. You don't see a guy.
You don't have to be a people person,
but all of
you just need a computer,
and then also all of that's taken. So it's a mix. One, a computer, and two, it's it's hard to start a new home hardware. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
It's hard to start a new Walmart.
Yeah, there's a lot of businesses that are just kind of
monopolized,
fully mature.
Yeah, fully mature industries, right? And so all the new industries sit in this world where you have to be smarter than the average smarter than the average smart guy.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, so I kind of looked into it further, and then I was but then it stops at around a lot of those guys Elon have 140, 150, Zuckerberg, Dorsey, Balaji, even whatever. The 170 IQ guys actually don't make a lot of money again.
Right. Well, they're probably they work behind the scenes, and I wouldn't be surprised if some of these guys
of those guys are making $1 million a year.
Yeah, they're doing okay, but they're not
they're string theorists and stuff like that.
They're not like the founders
because they're too crazy, right?
And again, if you're a founder, you have to be a salesperson to a degree to sell, pitch your company a lot of times, and they're just like, way too autistic to do that.
Too autistic to do it. They're too smart. They're missing that thing. Yeah. And then on top of that, so I was kind of looking at that, and then it said it was being balanced out a little bit because I was saying out of people that are new millionaires, it was, yes, most of the new billionaires now are like, not most, maybe not millionaires, but like multimillionaires, really high level, are sitting in the 150 range where it used to sit in the 125 range a little more, right? However, it's also getting balanced out by the amount of new millionaires that are being created in like the influencers and OnlyFans.
That's true. Yeah.
So the Logan Pauls and that didn't really exist in the same way. So it's interesting, like the new thing is all like people that are almost a little less, people probably more in the like 115 now. It's like, and then a lot of people in the like 115 range, and then a lot of people in the 150 range. So that's kind of like the new landscape. But there's a lot of people becoming like really rich in the influencer, porn and all these different random spaces.
So anyways, 115 might be generous for some of them. Even still,
but it might average out. Like I don't think that like if you want to take like a Logan Paul to say that guy's like dumb, I don't think
he's not dumb. I was thinking more like the OnlyFans horse, but
maybe Jake Paul's dumb, but I don't know.
I don't think he's that dumb.
And there's probably some dumb guys, but maybe there's whatever.
I mean, look, in America,
and then they sort of the Mr. Beasts of the world. Like Mr. Beast isn't Elon Musk smart, but he's smart.
Yeah, he's smart for sure. But he's not in that tier. But I mean, America and the West in general is like, you literally could be dumb and just hardworking and become rich as shit.
Yeah, but less so now because the people that are becoming rich as shit.
Yeah, less so now because a lot of those things are like
less so 10 years ago. But then now it's added component where this influencing and all this sort of stuff. So anyways, that's my research has shown that's kind of like interesting shift in where the world's at and what that changes.
Yeah,
I was like doing all this research and googling stats and stuff like that.
I mean that does check out. I mean everything's more computers and everything's computer, as Donald Trump says.
Yeah,
everything is computer.
I got a funny Will Smith thing, and I wanted to talk. But let's go through some of these Elon Musk party things, and to kind of go to your point that I couldn't agree more with. It's these guys are sort of these 150 IQ guys are sort of missing something that like is very important in politics, which is the subtleties of human interaction, I guess you would say.
Yeah.
And there's like certain things that seem illogical that actually build movements.
Also, the government is not a profit maximizing entity, right? Like their brain works on like, how do I streamline this? How do I make this more efficient? And it's like, that's not how the government runs necessarily should be run. Like obviously it could be more efficient, but necessarily like maximum efficiency when you're talking about like, dealing with benefits and all these services and stuff. Like sometimes it's like that's maybe not necessarily, but that's just how they approach everything, and you're like, no, it's like government's like this negotiation thing where
you're talking about being good at government, which is also I agree with, but I'm not even saying about being good in government. I'm saying about like being good at what's actually being a politician is about, which is wheeling and dealing and campaigning.
Yeah, exactly. For sure. And it's like, he just doesn't get it. He's like, I understand what he's trying to do. He's like, we need to lower the debt and all that stuff, which I agree on. I mean, I guess we'll see with Trump. Trump's whole deal is like, we're just going to grow our way out of this. Which
that's most people's.
I'll say like, you definitely never heard Biden be like, we're going to grow our way out of this. They were just like, this is necessary. Like he's really banking on, shit like 7% GDP growth, which is pretty fucking crazy if it happens. And in that case they will. And I guess there is this one factor of AI, which could potentially be like, that's the kind of like accelerant, if you will, that can allow that for at least some period of time. But again, I mean, even Canada right now, I don't know if you saw what Carney's doing in Canada, but he's like slashing the shit out of the federal government.
Really?
Yeah. He's basically, I think it's not completely determined, but apparently they're saying he's going to be like slashing 15 to 20% of government jobs.
Are people unhappy with him or they love it?
Are you kidding me? Those are the people who voted for him.
Yeah.
Dude, all these people who voted for Carney being like, he's going to keep my fucking plum gig doing dick all at the federal government. And you're like, dude, go have fun in the private sector, which is getting hammered right now.